You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. How are you today? Ryan Tejas is here. Yeah, you good?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm fine. I'm here.
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm here. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I flew to Dallas to do these injections.
Yeah.
And I mean, it helped. I was awake, and they put these 16 injections in my joints. These 20 gauge needles. It's funny, it didn't hurt that bad. I bled a little, but he injects the joints with this placenta protein. It's non-DNA.
Good band name. You don't want to change Son's
Placenta protein.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But it gave me a lot of relief for a couple of days. I'm starting to get pain back, but he says, it's normal. It will kind of ebb and flow. So we'll see. But
jeez.
Yeah. Went to the Knicks game last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a Knicks fan. I root for the Lakers unless they're playing the Knicks.
Oh, yeah, it was an overtime game.
Yeah, and we were up by 10 in the fourth and just blew it. It was a great game, really exciting. I was amazed that there's a couple players on the Lakers that, and I'm not saying this because I love the Lakers, but just every call, they whine and bitch at the refs. It's unbelievable. You're an athlete. You make tons of money. You're a superstar. You're a great basketball player. And every call, it seemed like they were just crying to the refs. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? What are you doing? It was a bad look, but they're great. I mean, the Lakers with Luka, I think, can win the championship.
I hate that. Don't love that.
You're not a Lakers fan?
I'm a Clippers fan.
You're a Clippers fan. Yeah. I'm a Knicks fan, but I don't think, Brunson's hurt. He got hurt last night. Sorry for boring you, but I just, anyway, if the Knicks don't make it, I hope the Lakers. It'd be great to see a New York LA showdown.
Those are always fun.
Yeah,
it'd be had great. It in hockey recently. Had it baseball last year.
Yeah,
it's good.
Big shout out to Jeannie Buss. Thanks for the love. I love coming. It was a blast. I got to take you to the game.
Yeah, love to.
But you'd rather go to a Clippers game.
It was fun. I went for the first time a couple weeks ago.
You had fun?
Yeah, it's a very advanced new thing. This Intuit Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank you to Eric Bruni for the tickets.
Oh, yeah. The old Bruni, our good buddy Eric Bruni. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. And, we keep trucking. I think we've done, Ryan, 360 interviews. And we've been going for over 6 years. And I have to give a shout out. It's thanks to the listeners, the patrons of the podcast that support the show. You're the reason why we keep doing this. It's Patron has provided enough help and support for the podcast that the podcast is able to function and pay all the people like Ryan and our wonderful editor Jason and Nelkin. I love you, buddy. You're awesome. And of course, Bryce, our producer. So without you guys, if you guys want to, if you're not a patron and you want to support the show, consider it like a stream or something. You're giving back. So go to patreon.com/inside. And there's a new tier coming out. There's a new tier coming out where it's like you get a Zoom with me every 3 months, solo. You get an opportunity to come on the show via Zoom. At the end of this episode, you come on, talk about mental health, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and other things. So it's a wonderful tier. And it's going to be added. So Bryce is going to add that. So look for that. Also, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath on Amazon. A cap full of Puppy Fresh in your dog's water, odorless, tasteless, and your dog's breath will be better, period. That's what I use. And people are starting to really like the product. It takes time to roll out a product. And usually it's like, all right, let's take a risk, and then it fails. But we're breaking even right now. So that's not failing. So we're trying to, spread the word. So Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath on Amazon. And I think there's a thing, if you subscribe, you get first-time subscribers, you get 10, 15, 20% off, something like that. So anyway. And the Fart Book is available on Amazon, The Talented Farter. Other things, my Instagram, @the_Michael Rosenbaum. And you can go to my link tree. All cameos and the cons. Ryan's going to be coming to the Chicago Con.
I will be.
Yes, I love that. The cruise. You can do excursions with me and other cast members. Get tickets now, the excursions. And all the cons also, there's Smallville nights. So any city you're in, you want to come to a Smallville nights during the convention. It's a blast. If you haven't been, there's prizes and a lot of fun, and you're going to have a blast. Jack Osbourne is the guest today, and I had met him a long time ago. My friend was giving him a ride home, and we talked for about 20 minutes, and I really just liked this guy. He was just so sweet and genuine, and he's been through a lot. I mean, we talk about him trying to, what's the correct way to say it?
End things.
End his life. And thankfully he didn't. And we talk about his dad and his love for his dad and his mom and just his relationship with his family and his career. But like he really talks about the darker side of things, because there's always that. So it was awesome. I think you're going to really love this interview. And he's so prolific in terms of work. There's always one project, a new project he's always creating. And I like to see that. I like to see someone who's just like, all right, let's do this now. Let's try this. If you don't take chances, you never succeed or fail. You just kind of stay at this, so you got to give it a shot. And I think people are starting to do that more. I think people are starting to realize that nobody cares. Nobody cares about you.
What's that Gretzky quote? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
You miss 100% of the shots you do not take. That is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. It is true. All right. Why don't we do this? This is great. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. And let's get into Jack Osbourne. Let's get inside of Jack Osbourne.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
We were just talking about how it's been a rough year.
Oh yeah,
and the end of last year was kind of rough. And it's like, when is the tide going to turn? And has it been tough for you?
Oh, dude, this last year.
Did you lose your house?
No, I didn't lose my house. No.
You know people though.
Yeah, dude. It's funny. It's like everyone you run into in LA. It's like, oh yeah, like, family or friend. Like, but I think I have about 11 friends lost their houses. I mean, it's just like, it's insane.
It's unbelievable. It's so sad. It's just like, I have so many that, it's funny because I was talking to I'm developing this show, and my producer, he ran a network, he ran the studio, ran Sony. And so we're just talking. I go, are you safe? He was like, oh, I lost my house. And I go, what? I had no idea. And I hadn't talked to him since it all happened. And what do you say? It's like you lost everything.
Yeah.
At least you have your life,
Yeah.
And your family's okay, but it's like, so you have nobody in the Palisades.
No family. No, but just, I grew up in the Palisades for a while, and it's kind of, it was like, I do this like men's development group, and it's based in the Palisades.
Men's development.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's just kind of like
developing men.
It's just like
being better humans.
Yes. Be better humans. It's not a cult. So don't worry.
No, I
listen.
I heard about those cults.
We all have, a brand by our pubes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God. Well, that was
what?
That was,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Derp. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
But it's not derp. You can say what you want.
Yeah.
It happened, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Do you have any friends that were your friends and then did something really awful, and then you're not friends anymore?
Yeah. I think we all do in this town.
Yeah. It's like, or you knew someone like, did you hang out with that person? I'm like, what? No. I mean, we hung out
but we didn't hang out.
Yeah. It wasn't like we didn't call each other.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah. I have some of those that I was at the same place that this person was, or I was at this function that they were in, but we were friendly, but I never, and then all of a sudden something happens and they're going to prison. And you're like,
yeah.
People are always asking you, like, you knew them? Right? I go, no.
I got a lot of phone calls about that one individual who went to prison.
Oh.
I got like people being like, you need to come and like testify. And I was like, I didn't fucking see anything.
Are you talking about the 70s thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was pretty like, it was not. I got like calls from like some of his, victims, some, journalists, lawyers. And I was like, hey, I was around.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in the
I wasn't privy to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in the club. Like that was it. Like
Yeah.
I'd go play poker. That was it.
Yeah. And it's funny, if you asked me if that didn't happen and somebody said, how do you, what do you think of this person? I'd be like, He's really nice. He's always been really nice to me, and I've never seen, it was a shock.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's a shock. I think, the P. Diddy thing's not so much a shock.
No.
I mean, that's.
Did you ever go to a Diddy party?
Never.
Yeah,
I
me
wasn't
neither.
big enough.
Yeah.
I'm not A-list, man.
No.
Never been A-list.
It's weird. There's like a clip floating around. Like Kelly got invited to a Diddy party when she was like 18, and like he like ran into Kelly at some weird thing happened where his bouncer like knocked her over, and he invited her to one of his parties, and like all this like clip from the Osbournes was like flying around being like, look, he like preyed on Kelly and all this shit. And it was like, no, I think she ended up winning that. He like gave her some like diamonds and brought her to a party, and then she was like, all right, later. But yeah.
So she went to the party.
Oh yeah, she went. Yeah.
But she didn't see anything crazy.
No.
Because that all happens after.
Yeah.
Like a Miyagi, like after.
Yeah.
It was that late night.
Yeah. It's the second stop in the after party, schedule.
I would never have to worry about that because I'm a pumpkin by 11.
Oh yeah.
Like I could never. I mean, yeah, back in the day I could stay out till 1 or 2 maybe. There were some nights where 3.
Yeah.
But it hurt.
Oh.
I have never been a night owl.
Man, I used to be like,
Yeah, you party.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I went out a lot, and then I had kids, and I was like, oh wait, they wake up at like 6 a.m. I cannot do this anymore.
Not good.
No.
I noticed you looking around at like all this shit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have. Do you have toys at your house?
I do a little bit. Yeah, I have like my little room, and I've got my stuff. I was a big Star Wars toy collector as a kid. And
you still have the Star Wars stuff?
I do. Yeah.
What do you have?
Like a bunch of it's all original stuff, and it's actually at my family's home in England. But I've got like an X-wing, an original TIE fighter, an AT-AT, like the whole all the good stuff.
It's probably worth some money.
Probably, yeah.
You don't give it to your kids?
I did the mistake of like digging out some old Star Wars toys for them,
and they destroyed it.
They just destroy them, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till they're older if they're interested.
I'll get you some Dune toys.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. My 6-year-old went as the Reverend Mother for Halloween. She loves Dune.
How old is she? 6.
Jeez,
she had like you let her see Dune at 6.
She is like the biggest sci-fi nerd. It's amazing. I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I'm looking around at your posters, very jealous of the aliens.
Yeah, that's signed by the entire cast.
Do you get Paxton on that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, in fact, when the fires hit, they said we had to evacuate. So one of the things, I have a van. I've had it for 21 years. It's not creepy. I know you probably think van creepy.
No, I had a van for a while.
Yeah. But that was one of the things I put in there because I was like, I'll never get that again.
No.
And then the Gary Oldman autograph Dracula
nice.
And the Gene Hackman Superman behind you.
Oh.
To your up, yep, see that?
Oh, yeah.
To the second best Lex Luthor. Love Gene Hackman.
That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool.
You go to cons?
I do, yeah.
Do you go by yourself, or you go with Kelly, or you go with the family?
We've done it as a family a couple times. Usually I go by myself. My sister, she gets a little, I think she gets a little uncomfortable by it.
Is she shy?
I think it's a little shy.
Because I wouldn't think that. I wouldn't think that Kelly was shy.
Yeah.
But you think she just turns it on for the cameras?
I think so. Yeah, I think she's a homebody, and I think just it's a lot of interact. As it's a lot of work. It's a lot of being on and like a lot of smiles, a lot of shaking hands. And I think she's a little more reserved in that. My dad loves it. Like he's like gets so stoked every time.
He really loves it.
He does. Yeah.
You think somebody as big, with his stature, Ozzy Osbourne, we're talking about, but you think that he would be over it at this point.
It's funny because his health hasn't been great lately, so he hasn't been able to do gigs, and so he
What's wrong with him?
He's got Parkinson's, and then he took a fall about 6 years ago and messed his neck up, so he's got like nerve damage, but he's doing all right, and but he can't tour, and so he's so used to his whole life interacting with fans, and now that he hasn't in a while, like it taps him back into that, and so I think he enjoys the, just interacting with his people.
Does he go out in public very much?
Not really.
No, he's kind of a homebody.
Yeah, occasional dinner he'll go out or, but yeah, he's pretty much a homebody.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I always wonder, it's like you've been asked this a million times, but like I think of my childhood and how normal but abnormal it was and how dysfunctional it was. But growing up with a superstar as a dad, Did you see the effects of it just early on? Just like everybody knew you as, oh, that's Ozzy's son. And
Yeah, there was a bit of that for sure.
did it bother you?
No, it depends. It bothered me in the sense that I could never really get away with anything. Like if I would go out and like get into trouble, and you know, I started going to like clubs in Hollywood at 13, 14. I'd go see bands, whatever, and if I would get into any trouble, they would just call my mom immediately because they knew who I was and they knew my parents. You know, my dad's first gig in LA was at the Whiskey, so like the owners of the Whiskey knew my family, and the Roxy, and you know, Troubadour, all that. So I would get frustrated at that. And then when we did the show, it was like it just put that on, you know, steroids. And
Whose idea was that? The show, the Osbournes.
The show kind of came about. It was just a real weird, loose conversation we'd had with MTV. Kelly and I had, we'd done something for MTV News on tour with my dad. Like we kind of brought we took Kurt Loder around Ozfest and like golf carts and like showed them, you know, backstage and introduced
And they
them.
were interested. They saw your family and the dynamic, and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And then we did an episode of Cribs that was really highly rated. And so we were just having conversations with a few execs at MTV at the time. And it was just like, hey, we should figure something out. And then over a dinner, it landed on, hey, why don't we do The Real World, but in our house? Like,
And who was opposed to this in the beginning?
No one in the beginning. You know, I have an older sister who opted out of doing it.
Right.
And her reason was she wanted to be a musician, and she didn't want it to be perceived that she wanted to do it on her own.
Right.
You know, I'd say on her own, but it's like, what are you going to do? Like, you know, the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind and like erase your entire existence. And, yeah. So she didn't do the show, but there was a time right when we were going to start that everyone got cold feet because it was like, wait, at this time I was kind of partying and, you know, doing drugs, and my dad wasn't sober. And it was like, do we really want to put this out there?
Yeah.
And being 15, MTV's like, we'll pay you money. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I want to buy a car.
Were there moments in the show where, you know, you're like, no, get the fuck away from me?
So much.
Even your dad was like, get the fuck.
Yes, there is a lot of that.
Was there any like getting really upset?
Yeah. There was,
and they expected that would happen.
Yeah, there was a few like gotcha moments that they did, you know, where they hid cameras in rooms where there wasn't supposed to be cameras, where conversation would happen.
Oh.
There was a couple. There was a few.
Yeah, what if you're masturbating in an extra room?
That nearly happened once. Like as a teenager, like I'd settled in for like hey, I'm gonna do this now,
Yeah,
and then I look and I'm like, wait, that's a camera. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had to be. Were you ever like, we're done?
Yes. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then what happened? You're on contract. You can't just quit.
Well, no, we shot the entire first season without a contract. And that's why we ended up owning the show. We kind of, you know, we made out pretty well at the time, you know, for doing an MTV show.
Was it a lucrative deal in the beginning?
What they had initially offered us versus to what we ended up was like tenfold where we ended up. Because the first season ran, none of us had signed a release. There was no contract, nothing. And the show was very successful. So we turned around to MTV and we kind of held all the cards. We're like, hey, we're either going to sue you for essentially, you know, doing an entire series without any legal, nothing. Or you're going to pay us a lot of money and give us the show back after X amount of years. And they were like, okay, I guess we kind of have to.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of like weird things, you know. They at one point we were doing TRL, and the I forget who it was, but one of the execs at MTV asked my dad to come up to his office, and he went up, you know, the old MTV building on Times Square, and he goes up there, and the guy's like, hey, I just want to, you know, thank you. Here's a check, you know, we really love everything.
A check?
Yeah, because we hadn't signed anything and we hadn't taken any money. So I guess we're trying to do as well. They cashed a check. So they, you know.
It must have been a big check.
It wasn't that big. And so in the elevator down, my dad was smart enough on the way down in the elevator, he like looked at my mom and like ripped the check up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, was it like, well, Jack will be doing his own deal. Kelly will be doing her deal. Ozzy's, I want more money. I want, like, when the deal kind of, when you figured that out, or you're like, we're a family, we split it all.
It was, we're a family, we split it all. It was kind of.
What a treat.
Yeah, it was like, all right. Sure, twist my arm.
I'm giving up my privacy, man.
Well, that's kind of where it landed. It was like, hey, this is a huge.
This is Truman Show shit.
Yeah. And it was a huge shift for Kelly and I because we were still in high school. But the show was so big at the time, we couldn't do normal kid shit anymore. And so I think there was this obligation of like, all right, we have to do, like, we got to make this cool for everyone.
How many cameras were in the house, you think, if you had to guess?
There was
100?
No, there was probably 2 cameras in every kind of main room. There were cameras that they used to monitor, and then there were cameras that were like TV quality. So not every room had TV quality hidden cameras
And handheld.
There was always 2 camera teams on property at all time, just because, you know, if someone was going somewhere, they'd go.
Would they sleep there?
They were there from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. every day.
Exhausted.
Except Sunday. Yeah, Sunday was off.
But you didn't eat with them. They had their own thing.
Yeah, but I would, because they had like, you know, they would always have food kind of brought in. I would always be like, hey, can you throw me a burger on that order you're sending out? So, but I wouldn't really. That was one of my rules. I was like, don't film me eating.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just had this weird thing about, like, I hated seeing myself on camera eating.
Yeah. You don't want to do like a Cyrus.
Yeah.
Billy, what's his name? Billy Ray Cyrus. Or
What-
was it, who was it that was eating? No, it was the guy from the
Hasselhoff?
Oh, the Hasselhoff when he
you don't want people to see you devouring food.
Yeah, it's just
Were
kinda-
you ever drunk or high or
so many
during
times.
the show?
So many times, yeah.
Do you regret it, or you think, it's fodder? It's
You know what? It's recently we watched back. We did like a watch party thing with the whole family where we watched back episodes, and I watched it and I was like, you know, as a parent, you're kind of like, fuck, that's gnarly. Like, wow, like they actually aired that. Like, I am a child getting fucked up, and no one had a problem with it. It was like high five.
You would see in the show you drinking.
Sort of, like you wouldn't see me with like a can of.
It was just a plastic cup.
Yes, yeah,
and you could tell you were a little bit inebriated.
Yeah, and there was a few where it was like I'm staggering drunk.
Today's show is sponsored by strawberry.me. Let me tell you, don't go anywhere. Listen to this, because this is important. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful thing here. If you're feeling uncertain about your life or your career, Ryan, we all feel that. Well, you're not alone. Life can be overwhelming, big decisions, changing relationships, or just trying not to make a mistake, which we all do. This is pretty amazing because it's coaching, and it's something I really believe everybody needs. Like, one of the ideas was, Michael, have a whiteboard and put not only your schedule, but health. Like, what do you want to achieve? Your goals. What are you going to do for the week? Life coaching is pretty amazing. Strawberry.me will assess your needs and connect you with the perfect coach for you. You can start communicating in as little as 4 hours. It's professional coaching done securely online. There's a broad range of coaching expertise available in the network. You're going to get thoughtful and timely replies between scheduled sessions. This is amazing, especially for people who are trying to get their life together, trying to have some organizational skills, trying to just get coaching by people who are professionals who could help you sort out your life and help you achieve your goals. This is pretty fascinating. Ryan, have you ever thought of a life coach?
I mean, I'm thinking about it now.
Seriously, Strawberry.me is committed to making great connections, and so it's free for clients to change coaches as desired. Strawberry.me is more affordable than traditional offline coaching, and the service is available for clients worldwide.
You can schedule live video coaching sessions, plus log in anytime to exchange messages with your coach.
Yeah, this is pretty damn cool, and I know a lot of my friends. In fact, my friend Norby texted me yesterday. True story. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out my life and I'm just having a midlife thing. And I said, Norb, Do you have a whiteboard? I did the whole whiteboard thing because that's how I learned it from coaching, just like different things. And this is just one of the tools, but I started explaining to him and he's like, who's your coach? I'm like, well, you know, it's pretty amazing when people have the tools and you work with them and learn what they know. Because I don't know half of the stuff. Everybody listening out there, you know, thinks that they have a plan and they do the same routines, same habits, and they realize it's not getting them anywhere. So what do? You get a coach, someone who knows what they're doing and can help you and make, you know, change these habits and get you going in the right direction. Visit strawberry.me/inside. That's strawberry.me/inside and take charge of your future with the help of a certified coach. Special offer for Inside of You listeners. Get 20% off your first month membership at strawberry.me/inside.
Strawberry.me does not facilitate or provide healthcare services. Please consult with a healthcare professional.
Inside of You is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Well, we've got a special conversation here because, you know, I have a Helix mattress and I talk about it all the time. But now I had one delivered to Ryan.
I have one now.
And I was curious. I was like, beforehand, I said, Ryan, look, if it doesn't work, let's just not talk about it. How do you feel having a Helix mattress?
It's fantastic. I mean, we did the little quiz online first.
Right.
And filled it out to the specifications. And yeah, I've been on it for about a week. It's good.
What do you notice?
I'm waking up better. Honestly, I am sleeping a lot better. And it's way more comfortable.
Yeah, you know, sleep is probably, you know, arguably the most important thing we do as human beings. We sleep most of our lives, or at least a third of it. And if you're waking up and you're in pain, if you're waking up, you know, having sleepless nights, if you're tossing and turning, chances are that mattress is not for you. Helix mattresses are damn fine. That's why you're hearing a lot about Helix mattresses, because people are changing over because they're seeing that it works by the word, you know. I love that, Ryan. I love that your sleeping has improved, and you know, we're gonna do this every time we talk about Helix. I'm gonna ask you how you're doing, and you're gonna have to give me an honest response. You had to get rid of your old mattress.
I did. It had been a long time.
Right, and so when I told you, you're like, yeah, I'll have one.
Uh-huh.
So they delivered it to you.
Delivered it to me in a box, and it was sealed up in a roll.
Right.
And
easy to get out.
Easy to get out. Easy to unwrap, and then it just sort of
put on your bed.
Inflates itself.
Because it kind of just molds
remarkably quick.
Remarkably quick.
It was really impressive. It was like a miracle of science.
I love that, man. That's amazing. Go to Helix Sleep, guys. Helix. HELIX sleep. HelixSleep.com/inside for 20% off site-wide. That's HelixSleep.com/inside for 20% off site-wide. HelixSleep.com/inside. Who was the disciplinarian, by the way? Was it Sharon or was it Ozzy growing up?
It would always float between, you know, my mom was always kind of the, you know, she was the quarterback, but then it would be like, if we didn't, you know, straighten out, she would be like, I'm going to go get your father. And then if dad got involved, it was like, oh, fuck.
What would he do?
There was some yelling. There was some like punishment. You know, they would. It was very different from, my parents had a very different set of rules for me versus my sisters. They were actually more strict with my sisters.
Right. Well, the girls, right?
Yeah.
They got to take care of the girls.
Yeah.
Man. But like, was he sort of like growing up? I mean, did you think, if you look back, like, because you're pretty damn normal. You've grown up to be like this.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, you're a model citizen. You're like you're a good dad. You care about your family. You're reserved. You're classy. But you look back and you're like, oh, this is doomed. He's, you know, is this kid going to make it out of this? Is Kelly going to make it out of all this stuff? Are they unscathed? How is that possible? What do you think happened that kind of gave you some normalcy?
I think for me, what it was, I got sober when I was 17. And so, and and like real sober, not like California, like, oh yeah, I just, I smoke pot and drink beers on Saturday. Like, no, like I did the work, and it became like a huge pillar in my life. And when I was about 19, 18 or 19, we stopped doing the show, and I ended up I had a TV series in England for like 6 years where I just traveled the world doing a bunch of different extreme adventure sports.
And you created that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the greatest life hack ever.
Wow.
I was like, why don't you pay me to just go have fun
Seriously.
and travel?
I want to do a reality show with you.
We should do it.
I've been wanting to do something kind of fun, and like I'm really good with people, and I want to travel and do stuff. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
But I think just getting out of LA and kind of growing up traveling all over the world, I think was a real shift for me. It was a change of perspective. And I never really loved I love LA. LA's it was a great city. It's an okay city now, but back then it was so much fun here. There was always something going on. And, but I had this yearning for like, I need more. I need to experience the world more than just LA.
More substance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, did you look at your father as like, did you know how big of a celebrity, what a rock star he was? Did you go back and review old concerts, and did you do a lot of research, or you didn't want to know as much and you kind of just ignored it? No, because some people are like, yeah, he's this, but I don't watch any of that, or I don't.
It started to when I was in my early teens, when I really got into music, and all the bands that I really liked. Back in the day when you would read them by, Rolling Stone or Kerrang or Hit Parade, any music magazine, a lot of these bands would say, oh, my dad was a huge influence, or Black Sabbath was a huge influence. And that really, then I started kind of looking at it more. I could remove myself and examine his body of work as a fan, ultimately. And
thank God you liked it, because there's a chance you might not have.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been like a Humperdinck or something guy, kind of like it was some, love ballads that you were just like, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it was, I really, I was listening to Sabbath in my car the other day.
Did you ever tell him like, I really like your music?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did he say?
We were actually sat around talking about it yesterday. He asks specifics like, well, what about it? Or, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like he's, my dad's incredibly critical of his work. He's very, he just picks it apart and doesn't really think
he doesn't listen to it.
No, he does a lot.
He does.
Yeah. Because he's always, I think, critiquing it.
Wow.
But it was, but it's hard. Like we were having this conversation yesterday about like, the contribution of Black Sabbath and his solo stuff, and he was kind of comparing to other bands, this, that, and the other. And I was like, ultimately, think what you want about your music it's one thing, but you got to look at the what people say about it. And there are so many artists today that attribute their either passion for music or the creativity or whatever to what you did. And
absolutely.
And I was like, that ultimately is what you should hang your hat on. Don't listen to critics, because critics aren't writing fucking music.
I know.
Listen to the people that see your art and then want to create art either similarly or continue on what you've done.
What do you think is your favorite song of his?
I guess my favorite Sabbath song is Symptom of the Universe. And I think favorite solo would probably be Diary of a Madman. But then some of his newer stuff too is great. Like he, released an album a couple of years ago called Ordinary Man, and the title track Ordinary Man's an amazing song. And
it's amazing how he's still recording.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with all this stuff, and he's do you see him? Have you seen him in the studio in the recent years?
Yeah.
Where you're like, wow.
Yeah.
When he gets behind a mic, or when he gets everything changes.
Yeah, but he's like now, whereas he could go to the studio for like 8 hours before, or 6 hours.
Now he'll go.
Yeah, he'll go in for 2 hours and do his thing and leave. It takes a little longer to do albums now, but
is he kind of like, I'm done?
Yep, that's exactly it. He'll go in, he'll be like, all right, let's work on this, and then his patience is like, all right, we're out of here.
Short-tempered, kind of like I'm over it.
Yep.
What do you think his favorite song is?
No idea.
No idea.
And he'll tell you his answer is I haven't written it yet.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I always loved that song with him and Lita Ford.
Yeah. I want him to re-record it as a country song.
Really?
Yeah. As weird as that sounds.
Do you guys know what song? You know what I'm talking about?
Close Your Eyes Forever.
Oh, that song, man.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. Yeah.
Funny story about that song. My mom was managing Lita Ford at the time.
Oh, wow.
And my dad had written that song.
Went to a party last Saturday night. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad was working on that song, and my mom was like, "Hey, can we do that with Lita?" And so that's how it all kind of came to be.
It was Sharon's idea?
I believe so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I could be totally wrong in some dorky, 1980s.
That's actually not true.
Yeah.
It was a guy named Herbert Hoover.
You had to have met a lot of big musicians in your time, just by, who's the biggest that you were like, holy shit, I'm starstruck?
Man.
Did you ever meet Zeppelin? Jimmy Page, Robert
yes,
Plant?
I have.
No!
I've met Jimmy Page. I've never met Robert Plant, but I met Jimmy Page, and it was actually a really funny story. There's a famous rock photographer named Ross Halfin. He's taken photos of everyone since music began. I mean, he's got this amazing, rich kind of connection to rock going from 1960 whatever to present day. And he's been a family friend for years and years. And I walk into the Chateau Marmont and I run into Ross, and he's with Jimmy Page, and I'm with my buddy. And so I go to Ross and I go, hi. And he's like, oh, have you ever met Jimmy? I'm like, no. And so we're just chatting. And he's like, oh, how's your dad? This, that, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, hi, Jimmy Page. And my buddy is wearing just coincidentally wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. And he's just kind of like, whatever, and looking around. And Jimmy looks and goes, oh, nice t-shirt. And my friend, oh, thanks. He has no fucking idea that it's Jimmy Page.
He's just standing there going, oh, who's this guy? Oh, thanks.
Yeah, he was just kind of like, whatever. And
so you didn't even tell him then?
I know when we walked out, I was like, that was fucking Jimmy Page. And he's like, what? And he just freaks out.
Oh,
yeah.
I just saw a documentary called Becoming Led Zeppelin that's coming out.
Oh, wow.
And Sony Pictures Classics did it. And my friend Tom Bernard invited me. And I never go to screenings and premieres anymore, really. I just don't like doing it. But I was like, I got to go to this. And it was awesome. And it wasn't about all their downfall and the drugs and Bonham dying. It was about becoming Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And how they became. So it was all just how these guys somehow got together and started making music, their four lives, how they kind of, it was great. So I recommend when that comes out, you see that.
Is this the one that's the sanctioned, Led Zeppelin sanctioned documentary? They were all involved.
Yeah, there's never before seen footage and interviews. And it was pretty amazing. Have you ever seen your dad cry before?
Oh, yeah.
Really? He's a crier?
He will.
What does he cry about?
When when certain friends have died, or
Has he ever cried to you like I'm proud of you, or?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does it make you cry when he cries?
Oh yeah. I think everyone cries when their dad cries.
I've only heard my dad cry once when my sister passed.
Oh.
And it was on the phone, and I never have seen my dad emote.
Oh.
I've never seen any emotion out of him. Only just. Grr.
How old is your dad? Is he?
He's 74 now.
Yeah, my dad's 76. It's that generation.
It was like it hit me to the freaking core. It rattled me. I was like, it was so emotional.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I don't know what to say, Dad. I love you. I'm here for you. It just, to leave me speechless is pretty incredible. And that was really hard because he doesn't do that. Are your parents ones that growing up when they're wrong, do they admit it?
My dad will.
He will.
My dad will.
I fucked up.
Yeah. He will admit it. My mom is a little more stoic with admitting that kind of stuff, but she will get there. She absolutely will. Now,
you are like this podcast. We talk about mental health. We talk about life, death, all this stuff in between, which people really relate to, and it helps a lot of people. Then you've been through a lot. Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. If you're not using Rocket Money and you're not listening to me, then I don't know what to tell you, because all I'm trying to do is help you save money. And, Ryan here has used Ryan is the guinea pig of this podcast. Because I've tried it, but I'm like, I need somebody else to talk to and see how, it works for them. But Rocket Money saves you money.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unwanted subscriptions. We all have them.
Yeah.
It's these streamers. We want to watch a show. And we're like, well, I have to subscribe. So you forget about the free trial. A year later, you're like, wow, I've spent $150. And why did I spend $150? That's not fair. But with Rocket Money, they will erase that. They will look out for you. So, yeah, how much did you save?
Enough.
Enough to make a difference.
Enough to make a difference.
That's awesome.
It keeps me alert when things are spent. That's nice to know.
Yeah. It's Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings.
See all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features.
Get alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lowering your bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service, so guess what? You don't have to do that. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/inside today. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. Then you've been through a lot. I mean, multiple sclerosis.
Yep.
Right. And I was making a joke, not a joke about multiple sclerosis, but I'm like, what does it mean? Do you have multiple of these things?
Yes.
Or, is that what it is?
Yes.
Why isn't it just called sclerosis?
Okay, so the sclerosis, and it could be completely wrong, but essentially it means multiple scars. And so with multiple sclerosis, you have lesions in your nervous system. So it could be in your brain, your spine, anywhere where you've got a nerve. The disease will break down the myelin sheath, which is like the outer coating of that nerve, and essentially calcifies it. So when they look at it in an MRI, you see these like white dots all through your nervous system. And so it's like multiple scars. And so you can't, if you have one lesion, they will rarely kind of diagnose that. But if you've got multiple, then.
Which it usually is.
Yes. Yeah.
How old were you when you found out?
It's like 26, 27.
And what happened? Do you have symptoms? What kind of symptoms do you have?
So 18 months prior to me getting diagnosed, my legs went numb for like 3 or 4 months. It was really weird. Like if cold water touched my legs, it felt burning hot. And if hot water touched my legs, it felt ice cold. And
that's scary.
Yeah, it was really weird. And I was like, oh, I must have just like pinched a nerve or done something.
In both legs.
Yeah. I was just 20-something-year-old, just like, whatever.
I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. And so then 18 months later, I went blind in my right eye. And I was like, all right, this is not normal.
Not good.
And I went to the doctor. I went to the eye doctor because if you can't see, you go to the eye doctor.
Yeah.
And he knew what it was, but he couldn't diagnose it because he's not a neurologist. I didn't have an MRI. And he's like, you need to go to the emergency room, get an MRI. Went through the whole process.
Were you scared?
Yeah, because when I went to the emergency room, they were like, we think you may have had an aneurysm or a stroke or something. Yeah. And at that point, I was freaking out. I had a 3-week-old baby. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is this? And after a couple weeks of testing and, whatever, they determined it was multiple sclerosis. And then I did what any, defiant 20-something-year-old goes to being like, I'm going to get a second opinion.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to get a beer.
No. When I got a second opinion, same thing. They were like, nope, this is multiple sclerosis. So.
Do you have it for life then, right?
Yes. It's an autoimmune disease that they say that you can't cure.
Right.
But I don't know. I've been really lucky. I don't have a super aggressive form of it. I have what's called relapsing remitting, and I haven't had like a flare up or a relapse.
Can you die from it?
You can, yes, sort of. Like you can die from complications as a result of it. So over time, multiple sclerosis will, erode your nerves further and further. And so it can affect mobility. It can affect speech. It can affect, how you swallow, how you
But
breathe.
you haven't seen a lot of that.
No.
Are you on medications?
I was for a while, and then I stopped taking them because I'm an idiot.
But how long has that been?
Like 7 years.
And you still have no symptoms.
Very few.
Well, maybe that's honestly, I'm not a doctor, but maybe it's good where you were on these things and then you got off and you've been fine for 7 years. So if you ever have to go back, they'd be more effective.
Exactly. That's kind of my thought. And then my second part of it was,
we're not doctors here. Don't listen to us.
Like, how long can I go between these episodes off medication? I just was trying to get a sense of things. I do a lot of supplementing. I do a ton of, tweaking, and like I work with this like nutritionist guy and some,
Are you really healthy?
No, but I try to be.
What supplements do you take?
Man, I take.
Do you take like omegas and fish
Yeah,
oils? And
exactly. A lot of that, a lot of like NAD,
peptide at all?
Peptides.
Do peptides really help?
Fuck yes, they do. Oh
With
my
pain
God.
and aches?
Oh yeah. Depends which one you're still taking, because there's like there's like 30 different types, and they're always coming out with new ones.
BCP 137 or something? I forgot the name.
I've done that one. I've done like CJC. I've done like Ipamolin.
Pills or
shots? Shots.
Because I'm going to start taking peptide injections to see if that could help with some of the pain I have.
Absolutely can. 100%.
Like you've noticed you overwhelm.
Yeah, and I do it. I exercise a lot, and I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, and like my recovery time is so like nominal. It's like nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So that's the new. It's like thiacin.
Thymus.
Is that what it is?
There was thymus, and I took thymus at one point. I haven't taken it in a long time.
Yeah. Again, go to a doctor, talk to people
Yeah.
about this. Don't listen to us. But like peptides are sort of the thing now.
Yeah.
That people are talking about. I know that when would you say your lowest point was probably when you found out your mom had cancer?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
And like you were drinking heavily then.
Yeah.
And I know you went through, you attempted suicide.
Yeah.
And how close were you?
Man, I went like, hey, let's do, I was like, we're going to do this.
You really were that set on it. There was no turning back.
I didn't see. Yeah. Like
you weren't scared. Like, here I go. That desperate.
I think it was less about being scared and more about just being, I felt that sad. I just felt so I didn't have any sense of really who I was. I didn't feel like I had a good support system around. My mom was really sick. My dad was in his own, addiction at the time. My sisters weren't around at all. Kelly was off.
So you felt like you had no one.
Yeah, I felt incredibly alone. I probably wasn't as alone as I thought. But I just didn't. I was like, all right, I'm tired of this. It was a really crazy time. The show was hugely successful. There was a lot of.
You had money, you had the show,
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah, but I had no sense of who I was.
I think that's what a lot of people deal with.
Yeah.
I think even myself, sometimes I think of like I think the older I get, the more I am finding that out.
Yeah.
And purpose and doing what I want to do and what I love. But there's times when it gets dark.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't, whether it's you're suffering from pain or mental pain or anguish or whatever, that you just like, and mixing alcohol and drugs into it obviously makes things a lot worse.
Yes.
So you tried to slit your wrists?
No, I tried to, I downed like a bottle of Somas. I don't even know if they still
Soma is like a muscle relaxer.
Yeah. I did I downed like a bottle of Somas and just washed it down with some alcohol, and I was already really drunk.
And so what happened?
I slept for like 14, 15 hours, and I ended up just waking up and being like,
nobody knew about it?
No one knew.
What made you think, I'm not going to do that? I'm lucky.
I ended up calling. I had like a therapist as a kid, and I ended up finding his phone. This was like back in the day with flip phones, I remember I had this Motorola, but you could only program like 99 numbers in it. You couldn't have more than 100 phone numbers in it. And so I always had like a little phone. I used to carry a little black book. And I remember like flipping through it and finding his number and calling him and just having a conversation and ended up going to chat with him. And I didn't get sober right then and there, but shortly thereafter, you know, I ended up kind of, you know, through a series of events going like, all right, I need to go to treatment.
Did you confront your family about it? And like, this is what I did?
No, I didn't tell anyone.
They never knew about it.
No, they didn't know until when I was in treatment, and then I shared with them about it, and
Probably heartbreaking.
oh yeah, horror. Oh man, like I wouldn't. Yeah, it's really tough. And it's always that case of when you become a parent, you begin to empathize further with your parents because it's really hard. It's hard to see your kids suffer. It's hard to see your kids go through hard times.
Go ahead.
Because you want it. You want to just be like, oh, let me fix this for you. Like I can do, but we've all got our own journey.
Are you on any sort of antidepressant or nothing like that?
No, I was for a while. Yeah, I was on like an SSRI. And
did you think like I'm never going to get off this because I feel so much better?
No, so when I got sober, I was on antidepressants for you know, probably 3 years. And then about around this time is 2 or something years later, that's when I started traveling and doing a lot of different extreme sports and climbing and skydiving and all this stuff. And I ended up just losing my medication while I was like somewhere in Europe.
You just never got back on it.
Yeah. And I was like,
because they always say trickle off.
Yeah. And I think because I was on like a climbing trip and I just didn't have time to sit there and be like, oh, I was like hanging off the side of a mountain somewhere. I don't know. And I never got back on them.
I think the way you carry yourself and you know, you believe in exercising a lot and doing these things. I think that if you didn't exercise, a lot of that stuff can creep back up.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and I think that's why it's so healthy for people to move.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, you know, my mom, you know, she's older now and she's a bit more sedentary than she used to be. And I believe it's being sedentary is the death of all of us. I mean, if you sit there and you're not getting your heart rate up, if you're not walking, if you're just sitting there and eating and not, it's your mind is going to go away. Your body is going to deteriorate. Everything's going to hurt. It's just going to get worse and worse. So it's like, pick yourself up and just go for a walk. Maybe 5 minutes today, maybe 20 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I need to do that more myself too. And sometimes you're like, oh, well, I'm in decent shape. Sometimes you think, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, you're fine. It doesn't mean you're fine because you look okay.
Yeah.
You could have underlying things going on. It's just not healthy. So it's good that you like turned a corner in your life, you know. And
it wasn't just this sweeping thing. Like I bounce back and forth with like being healthy, being unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's just like
I'll have a burger here and then I'll have a piece of pizza.
Yeah, like the amount of times that I've gained 30 pounds, lost 30 pounds, probably 5 or 6 times over the last 20 something years.
You probably won't do that now though, huh?
No, probably not now. I think what really shifted it for me was, not to be one of those podcast bros talking about it, but jiu-jitsu. It like really just over the last 5 years, I got really into it, and it gives
you confidence too, doesn't it?
It does.
That's the most important thing.
Gives you confidence. It gives you.
You feel like you could you could hit somebody if you had to.
Oh yeah. Like
have you ever gotten a fight?
Yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few scraps. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you lose any of them?
Well, I've had like actual ring like professional fights.
Really?
Yeah. I did a Muay Thai fight in Thailand, and then a couple boxing matches.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you won?
Yeah, I won one of the boxing matches, lost one, and then the fight in Thailand was kind of weird. It was like I wasn't in great. It was right when I started kind of getting into shape, and they were like, "Oh, if you want to go do a fight, we'll pay you up with this like really old dude." And I was like, "Okay."
He beat your ass?
Kind of, but not really. He just ended up like gassing out, and I like punched him, and he kind of went down. He was just like this old fat dude.
And you were headgear?
No.
So you've been hit in the face.
Yeah.
You've been punched. You know how to take a punch.
Yeah, I hate it though. That's why
It's the worst thing getting punched in the face.
It
It's like
sucks.
your eyes water. You're just kind of numb.
Yeah.
Your adrenaline. You're kind of nervous. It's like this overall feeling. Like I definitely hate that.
Yeah,
I
it's not
hate
fun.
getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
But boy, when you get a good right hook on
Oh,
somebody, that feels good. No, I'm just kidding. Now, I mean, you've been through so much. You really have.
I've had an interesting journey. Yeah.
I mean, you're divorced now and then remarried.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like you can get through things a lot easier now. You know how to deal with adversity. What is it? What's your kind of belief in that?
Okay, so it's one of my favorite quotes, and I heard it a few years ago, and it's
Let me
really,
guess.
What?
Who's more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him?
Close.
Okay.
No, it's a Jordan Peterson quote, and he said, "We are not entitled to happiness. We're entitled to an adventure."
Wow.
It's really stuck with me because in any great adventure, it's not awesome the whole time. You know, you look at Frodo carrying the ring to Mount Doom. There are good moments and there are a lot of shitty moments.
Yeah.
And I try and remember that during the shitty moments, being like, hey, this is just a part of the adventure. This will pass.
This too shall pass is
yeah.
also a good quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been like this last year, man, sucked. Fucking sucked.
Why?
Just work dried up, you know, just dealing with some different, you know, some mental health stuff, some just personal shit with, you know, relationship. It's just everything. It was just a really, really tough year.
Yeah.
And I've just been like, fuck, man, like, when's this going to end? And I just keep saying to myself, like, it's just the path you're on right now. Like, this will nothing stays the same forever.
Yeah.
Even the good times don't stay good forever. The bad times don't stay bad forever. But I think having that kind of perspective on situations has really helped, because it's, you know, it's not all, you know, if you go online, you know, someone goes into your DMs or whatever, or you make a comment on your video, everyone just assumes that because you work in the entertainment industry, it's, you know, champagne dreams and caviar wish. It's like, no, like,
I know.
Sure.
Oh, poor baby. You're making a lot of money out in Hollywood. We're human beings.
Yeah.
We're like you. Yes, we're doing things that people see and we're noticed sometimes, but it doesn't mean we can't feel pain and we can't hurt and we can't get depressed and we can't. And that's what this podcast is. It's like it's showing that, like, it's just so untrue.
Yeah.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Who's your support system? For me, it's my family. It's my friends. They've always got time to listen and help me understand my situation better. In a society that glorifies hyper-independence, it's easy to forget that we're all better when we have a support system behind us. Therapy can be a source of support for any area of your life. Therapy from BetterHelp is so helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it is not just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy is beneficial for everyone. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties and easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. It's really that simple. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/inside to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. You have done, how many shows have you done? How many have you created?
A decent amount. Yeah.
20?
No, I don't know. Probably. I guess there's like shows that I've created and the shows that I've hosted. I don't know. I've probably done maybe between 10 and 20 shows.
What's your favorite?
I really loved the show I did with my dad, World Detour. That was so much fun. And then I really enjoyed Adrenaline Junkie, which was the extreme sport travel show. Yeah, I mean,
You like the haunted shows?
yeah, I have fun doing
I
it.
love that shit.
I
I love that shit.
It's fun. It's just it's a lot of work. It's a lot of late nights, and it's a lot of work in really cold, damp, spooky places.
Figuring out what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, relating it back to mental health, like it gets depressing when you're doing show after show because you're talking about death and how horrible
The
tragedy.
macabre.
Yeah, it weighs heavy. I do love it. It is a hobby. It is something that has been, I've done for a long time.
Do you believe in the paranormal?
I do. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. There's something to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's signs all around.
Yeah. It's so funny. The amount of conversations I've had with people that are like, "Oh, you don't really believe in all that ghost stuff, do you?" And and I'll be like, "Well, yeah,
I kind of do."
And then within 5 minutes of talking, someone will go, "Well, yeah, I actually had this experience." And then you go, "Okay, well, are you schizophrenic? Are you having were you on some kind of hallucinogen? Okay, well, you take those out. You had some kind of experience that was abnormal, paranormal, and what is it? I don't necessarily think it's all, it was once the spirit of a living human and now they're just occupying this space. Sometimes I think it's that, but I think there's a whole laundry list of things going on.
Have you ever had something that happened in your life?
Yeah, I've had a lot, especially doing the go shows.
You've had things where like it just creeps you out, the hair in your arms.
Yeah, like I've seen objects move in front of me.
You've seen objects move and no one did that.
100%. Yeah.
I would freak out.
Yeah.
That's why I would be good on one of those shows because I like, that is real. I swear to God. Did one of you guys do that? I would flip out.
Yeah, it's crazy when it happens. I've had, just
what's the explanation for that?
I'm sure
paranormal.
I'm sure some scientists would come in and be like, well, the air conditioning turned on and bounced off the window and, did it. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure someone could come in and do that. We always try in the moment to go, all right, did a truck drive by the building and shake the building?
But were you ever really scared? Like,
yes.
I'm scared. I want to leave now.
Yes.
Like, genuinely, I want to leave.
Yes. We investigated this house in somewhere in Texas. I think it was like Mineral Wells, Texas, somewhere like that. And they called it the Hell House, something like that.
Hell House, probably.
Yeah. And it was a real strange environment. Everyone was really tense and like the crew were fighting. The director was in a mood. It was just a not good day. Everyone was off and kind of on edge. And we weren't really, nothing really was going on. It was a very strange, there was just a vibe in the house of like just darkness. And towards the end of the evening, we were up in this like attic space and it sounded like someone took the house and picked it up and dropped it. The whole house just went boom, like a sonic boom type loud just in the house. And
oh my God,
it was so fucking crazy. I to this day, I have no idea what it was, what it did. It was like if God took a baseball bat and hit the side of the house.
It's one of those things where it's like, get out.
That's the way we all perceived it. And we were like, this isn't right.
The camera guys were freaking out.
Freaked the fuck out. And these were the cameras.
They've seen it all.
Yeah. God DP Addison, I've done probably 100 ghost hunts with him. And he freaked.
Oh man, I would have flipped out. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Jack Osbourne. It's rapid fire. These are my patrons, patreon.com/inside you if you want to join and help the show out. Jessica B says, what's something you do to stay grounded when life gets hectic?
I still do a lot of 12-step meetings. So probably 12-step meetings and jiu-jitsu and meditation.
Raj, tell me about a time someone wronged you. Were you able to quickly resolve things or did it lead to a long period of resentment towards them?
I had a particularly bad falling out with a business partner at one point, and it took me a long time to just kind of let go of the resentment. Yeah, that was tough. Business with friends, it's tough thing.
It's just like, just get a contract.
Yeah.
Just get something that says, 50%, this is what we're just, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you could say, "Oh, we're friends. It's fine. It's fine."
Yeah.
And then someone's like, "Well, I've been putting in all these hours." I've seen it happen
That's
millions of
very
times.
similar to what happened. Yeah, we had a lot of
Yeah.
success, and it was just it soured, and ultimately I feel sad about loss of the friendship because we were really good friends.
Yeah, that sucks. Linda M, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Favorite childhood memory? Oh wow.
Christmas, 1997.
Let's see. Man, I actually have quite a few. I think the thing that first pops into mind, I was like 10 and my dad took me out of school to go tour with him through Europe when he was touring in the 90s.
Wow.
And it was just me and him. Like my sisters and mom didn't come, and it was like 6 weeks, and it was great. All through like France and Germany.
You'll never
and,
forget that.
Yeah, it was the best.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a really cool time.
Don G, what's one thing you went through as a kid that you never want your kids to go through?
Probably, drug and alcohol abuse and, mental health stuff. Yeah.
And feeling so helpless or hopeless that they don't have someone, and knowing they do have someone around them, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That loves them. Cicely, is there a movie about your life? If there was a movie about your life, what would be the title?
Maybe The Adventure.
The Adventure or
Yeah.
Jack's Back.
Jack, yeah. Full Metal Jack.
Full Metal Jack.
Osbourne in the USA.
Osbourne in the USA.
Osbourne Identity.
Wow, you guys
Yeah.
are good. Rozzy Border, when you're looking for a Bigfoot, what feelings did you feel at the time?
Bigfoot, there is definitely something to him. I don't know. I've always been skeptical about Bigfoot. And then when I did that Bigfoot hunt with Jay Muse, I was like, you know what? Not every single person we've interviewed here is fucking crazy. Like, they're seeing something. And
Yeah.
I was on the fence for the longest time, but I don't know. I kind of think,
There's something to it.
yeah.
Jen T, what has been your most important key to finding happiness? That's not easy.
It's not an easy one. I don't think there's any one thing. I think there's I think having community, having family,
Yeah.
having self-worth, having spirituality, some conscious contact with a higher power, whatever you want it to be. I think it all, it's all slices of a pie.
Do you feel like shit when you wake up? Do you feel like, God, my body's just, the older you
Sometimes.
get, you're just like, God, and it just takes a couple hours to get going?
I had that this morning. I woke up and I was like, fuck. Is that
Yeah, that's
really
how
my
I felt
alarm?
every morning.
Yeah.
I was just like, I feel like a
Peptides-
train hit me every morning, and then it takes about 2 or 3 hours, and then I'm okay.
Peptides help.
With that,
Yeah.
I'm getting on peptides.
Yeah. Peptides and like,
And you do a injection under your stomach?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You just do it. It's a little tiny, like
Tiny needle.
insulin needle.
and you notice right away?
After probably a couple, 10 days or so.
And how often do you take it? Once a week?
Twice a week, my regime, but I'm constantly changing shit, and tweaking.
Go see your doctor.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
here to. What's next? What's on the agenda? You always have something going on. What are you doing right now?
So it's I'm focusing a lot on my podcast.
What's the podcast? Talk about it.
It's called Ghost and Grit. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts.
And you talk about stuff like this, about what you really believe and like
Yeah.
seeing things, and you get.
We've been over the last year. I've been kind of changing the format and this. Is it an interview show? Is it a paranormal thing? I'm kind of landing more on just doing kind of interview stuff where we touch on paranormal, but I don't know. My interests go far beyond just paranormal, and so I want to incorporate that a little bit more into it, and so we're broadening.
How long have you been doing it?
Little over a year.
You enjoy it?
I do. I think it's a really amazing
Ghost and Grit.
Ghosts and Grit. Yeah.
Ghosts and Grit.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the name from? You just thought like it's about everything. It's Ghost and Grit. What's like?
Yeah.
It kind of
Exactly.
speaks.
Exactly. Initially, I wanted to call the podcast "Stuff About Things and People," because that way it's just like
Or stuff about stuff.
stuff about stuff.
Well, this has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's
What's
been
your
great.
Instagram?
Just at Jack Osbourne, and then my Patreon I think is at Jack Osbourne as well, and all that. Yeah. So
Yeah. I always love watching you. I love talking to you. It seems like it was forever. We reunited somewhere. Where do we see each other?
Were we in like there's a con? Was it in Florida or something?
Yeah, I think it was in Florida. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I always liked that guy.
Yeah. I have such a memory of like getting in a car with you at one point.
Was it Mike McGinnis?
It was Mike McGinnis.
And
She's
we
like,
dropped you at your house.
Yep.
And we had a good conversation, had some laughs, and that was it. But we had a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
Thanks for
20-something years later.
Thanks for being here, man.
Hey,
This
you.
has been a real treat.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Really
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack. Love you, buddy. That was really great. And hopefully you'll come back sometime. Maybe you'll bring the family or somebody in the family. Anybody. Yeah, that was really fun. I really like that. I really like that interview.
Yeah, nice guy.
Yeah. Very insightful and pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
I like when people are pleasant. I don't like when people afterwards are like, oh, I'm going to need the audio and video of that. I'm going to really need to listen to this to make sure. I mean, occasionally I understand it, but sometimes I'm just like, you know, what did you say? What do you think you said? You didn't say anything racist. You didn't say anything political. You didn't say anything, you know, so, you know, it's like afraid of your own words. Yeah. Anyway, they won't be listening to this. So
No.
There's no worries there. All right. Thank you for listening. And right now we have to go to the top tiers. These are the top tiers that give back to the show more than anyone. And I truly appreciate them. And here are their names. Are you ready, Ryan?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H, Niko P.
Rob L, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C,
Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jamal F, Janelle B,
Mike Eldon Supremo, 99 more, Santiago M, Maddie S,
Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave Ho, I love you, Dave, Brad D, Ray, Harada, Tabitha T,
Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Michelle A,
Jeremy Spoken, Jeremy C, Eugene and Leah, Mel S, Eric H, Amanda R, William K, Kevin E, for God's sakes,
Jor L, Jammin J, Leanne J, Luna R, Jules M, Jessica B.
Yes. Then there's Kaylee J. I just sent a bunch of Patreon boxes to a lot of these people. And I think I put too much in their boxes. I put too many gifts inside there. I'm running out of gifts. I got to come up with new. If anybody has an idea for any new cool gifts that I could, you know, just put a inside of you emblem on there, it'd be cool. We have cool tumblers and all that stuff, but I'm trying to be more creative. Kaylee Jake, Charlene A, Marion Louise L, Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T. These are people that stick with me. You guys have been around and you stick with me, and I really appreciate it. Somebody recently said, you know, I can't afford to support you anymore and this and that. I feel bad. I go, no, do not feel bad. I understand. You've been so amazing to the show, and I appreciate you. So, and that was Maddie, I believe. I think that was Maddie. So no, Maddie's still here. I think Maddie Sipe's still here. Yeah, Maddie, you're here. Anyway, let's continue.
April R, Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan.
Steven. Would be Steven. Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B716E, NG Tracy.
Keith B, Heather and Greg Grether. Ellie K, Ben B, Pierre C.
Sultan, Ingrid C, Dave T, Dave L, Jeff G, Kareem H, Brian B. What can I say? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for sticking around, and we need you. So patreon.com/inside of you if you want to be a patron and support. And there's a new tier coming. So look for that. And from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I am Michael Rosenbaum.
I am Ryan Days. I'm here too.
Little wave to the camera. We love you. And Ryan, love you, buddy.
Oh, I love you too, man.
And we'll see you next week. Be good to yourself. See ya.